Walking Dead is it's finally fucking back. Got my Walking Dead zombie t-shirt on here right here because The Walking Dead is fucking finally back. The Walking Dead is back with season 10, episode 9, titled Squeeze. Now, if you have not seen this episode, this is going to be a full spoiler warning because I'm going to be going into full depths in this episode. I'm going to go and break through everything that happened, give my thoughts on it. So, if you haven't seen the episode yet, it's going to be a full spoiler warning. So, in 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So the episode kicks off. We see all our characters in the cave down below. They look up and they see Alpha looking down at them, holding a lantern. And Carol lets out a big, massive scream. That was the scream she let out. I was like shocked by how much she actually screamed. Just the emotion in her face. And then we see Alpha actually leave the cave. She talks a few whispers aside and she reveals that the plan worked. Do not let them out, which means so. I think everyone was under the impression that at the end of episode 8, when they get trapped in the cave, that was only by accident. Like Alpha just seeing them, and then Alpha kind of ran that way because she knew that she could trap them in there. So, but they actually knew that they were in the. They knew that they crossed the border, and their plan was to get them trapped in there because they thought they would actually kill them. Which I was kind of amazed by how much Alpha is aware of everything. The fact that it was planned. This is not something I thought was going to be planned. I thought this was completely by chance that this kind of thing actually did happen. And then our kind of small group under the whole cave, they realize if we jump from pillar to pillar, we'd be able to make it over there. And if we make it over there, we can be able to cross up that way. So they're kind of jumping from pillar to pillar. Everyone seems to be getting on okay, but then I'm pretty sure her name is Kelly, which is Connie's sister. She falls. I thought she was going to fall in, but I'm like, no, it's a bit too early in this whole cave scenario for someone to fall in, which of course she did survive. She was okay, and they kind of travel by. A walker's grabbing at her feet, then Jerry comes in, chops off his arm, like, okay, and Daryl goes, can I have that for a second? And I was like, why does Daryl need a whisper or a walker arm? And he uses it as a lantern, like a light. He lights it on fire, uses it as a light. I'm like, yeah, that's Daryl, right? No one else would use a walker hand as a light. Only Daryl. That's what only Daryl would do. I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty cool idea what Daryl did. And then they're kind of passing through, and they don't know what to do. They're kind of just sitting there, they're kind of restless, going, where do we go from here? And then, like, of course, Mac is kind of wandering around the place trying to figure it out because she can't just sit still. And then a whisper comes up and attacks her, and she screams for help. And then everyone comes to run for her aid. And I counted probably about 7 or 8 whispers, all there fighting, trying to kill, but no one actually gets hurt. All the whispers are killed. And then they're like, okay, where did they come from? They had to get in here. How did they get in here? And they're wandering around looking for it. And then Jerry finds a kind of an arrow. They couldn't make it any more obvious. An arrow pointing in the direction of where to go. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it was the opposite way. Maybe they actually meant to go the opposite way, and it would have been an actual pathway out, because if you've seen the episode, you do know they don't get the way they kind of get out is very awkward. So maybe the arrow would have put them in the right direction. Just that's what I'm thinking of right now. And then before I do get into the very kind of claustrophobic nature of this episode, I want to jump over to Alpha and Negan. And it's a very weird encounter, but Alpha's taking a shit. Negan comes up and he kind of catches her in the shit. And I can't remember exactly what he says, but it was a wordplay on shit, but he didn't actually mean for it to come out as shit. But anyways, they're talking and Negan's going, you know what, maybe the person you're looking for, she's going on about a spy. He goes, maybe the spy you're looking for is actually in your ranks, kind of hinting at the way Dwight did the same thing to him during the war. And she doesn't believe him. She puts a knife up to his balls and she keeps pushing up, threatening to cut them off, and then he falls backwards straight into her shit. I was like, yeah, Negan, just what are you doing hanging out with the whispers? You're falling into shit at this place. But anyways, just back to our group in the cave, and they're going to a very claustrophobic. They have to go up this really, really narrow place, and you can Carol is actually, apparently she's claustrophobic, and she's hyperventilating going up, and it's so, I was watching this episode, I'm like, this is really intense how tight this whole area is. I don't blame Carol for actually hyperventilating because the area is tiny, especially Jerry. He's actually barely able to squeeze through, and they're kind of going up there. They finally make their way up, half them up. I think the only ones left to get out was Connie, we had Aaron, and we had Jerry. Jerry was at the very end, and then Walker's come up, and Jerry's like, okay, crap, we gotta speed up. And they're making their way up, and then Jerry gets stuck. And as soon as Jerry got stuck, I predicted that Jerry was going to die in this cave, and I was shitting it. My heart was pounding, and it just would not stop. And then walkers got closer. Jerry was still stuck. I was like, holy crap, please don't kill Jerry, please don't kill Jerry. My heart was pounding. And then they started gnawing at his feet. I'm like, oh crap. But then they took off his armor, he pulled himself up, and I was like, crap, please help. Just like, as you were sitting there, I'm like, don't, who cares if he's okay right now, just make sure he wasn't bit. And then they looked at his shoes and they didn't get through the shoes. So luckily Jerry was fine, because I was terrified Jerry was going to get bit, because Jerry, he's such a light-hearted guy. I would be terrified to see Jerry actually die, which I'm really glad he did survive. And then they got up to an area and like, oh grand, everyone was through there. Okay grand, we can get out now, because they see the light peeking through. Magma's about to walk, but then of course Daryl pulled her back because the drop is massive. Like she would have went straight back down to where they started, where the where the walkers were, and she would have joined that group as a walker, because she would not survive that fall. So they kind of have to think of another way to get out, and then they kind of find some kind of, I was pretty sure it was like an old kind of mining area. They break through there and they find a way to get out. And as they're in there, Kelly finds a box full of dynamite, and then Jerry's like, no, put that down, please put that down, we don't need that, just put it down, it's very deadly. But then, as they're kind of getting through, they're almost out, they actually dig a hole to get out, and then Kelly goes out. We find out that Carol is no longer there. Carol is now back where the big walker herd was, getting ready to drop dynamite down, but then she slips and she's about to fall, and I was like, holy crap, she's hurt. I knew she was never going to die. Well, like, this is pretty deadly to happen. And then Daryl comes at the last moment, and this is there was one I forgot to mention, but Daryl and Carol have some very, very, very nice heart-to-heart moments, where I wasn't really expecting all these heart-to-heart moments throughout this episode between the two of them. Every single one of them, they paid off me. Every one of them, it kind of got me in the feels, and I really, really enjoyed the Daryl and Carol relationship throughout this episode, and I'm really glad that we're seeing Daryl talking, because before, say, this season 8, he wouldn't have really been talking to her, he would have been kind of grunting to her, and I love that Daryl is actually talking now, and this relationship has been around since season 2, I think. Yeah, season 2. And I'm really glad the relationship is still there, because it's definitely one of my favourite in the entire series. But anyways, then we see the hole they start digging is kind of starting to fall out. Jerry's holding it up with his strength. Like, okay, I thought Jerry was going to die here. Please don't tell me Jerry's going to be the only one getting stranded in this cave dying. And as they're getting out, whisperers are coming, they're attacking. And then Connie and Magma go back to help Daryl and Carol get out. They're getting out, and then as they're getting out, Jerry's pulling himself out, and Magma's like, crap, there's more whisperers coming. So Magma goes back to fight them as well. Connie goes back, and then everyone gets out, and then boom, the dynamite goes off. The whole cave collapses, and I was like, okay, no, we've seen them before. We literally seen them kind of standing there as the cave was about to collapse. But I'm like, there's no way they died there. We would have seen them die. We would have seen them die in the explosion rather than them just standing there. So I think there's 100% chance. I'd be shocked. I mean shocked if they actually died here. I just don't think there's any way they're going to die. But then when our characters realise the explosion and that Connie and Magma didn't get out, Kelly loses it. She screams, plays down crying. Daryl like runs up in the rubble, starts pulling it apart, trying to get out. And then Carol, and again, Aaron says, no, you can't, we're going to be a week at that, we can't get out there. And then he comes down and Carol's like, just blame me. And she's screaming at him, just blame me, just say it, I just want you to say it. And it's just the emotion in her face as well. And Daryl, he's shocked and he's heartbroken. And just to see Daryl like that, it was really hard, because Daryl, he's a badass. Like, look at him right there, he's a fucking badass, Daryl. Just to see him, how sad he was, it was kind of hard to see. But then Daryl goes off because he knows there's got to be another way into the cave, which I'm assuming the way he got into the cave was the way actually Alpha kind of walked out at the end of the episode. So I assume he will find them and they will get out. I can't see them dying, because I think there is clips of Daryl outside the cave, so Daryl will get in the cave, he'll take them out and they will be safe. But then it jumps over to Alpha and Negan, and this scene is really weird. She says to him, "You were right. We think the actual spy is Magma." And she takes him out for a walk, and they're walking. He goes, "Don't turn around." And he keeps walking. She goes, "Take off my clothes, or take off your clothes." And he thinks she's gonna kill him, and he's kind of giving out, saying when he was leader, his name meant something. Everyone respected him, and all that. He kept going on, and then he's fully naked, and she goes, "Okay, turn around." And then she was naked. I'm like, oh crap, really? Because it looked so weird with the whisper mask and her being fully naked, and they're talking, and not they're talking. He's talking and he's talking and he's talking, and Negan, he just does not know when to shut up. So he's still talking, and then she just says, "Stop talking," and then they kiss, and then it zooms out, and they're both naked, and they're both like, you can see dirt patches all over them, and then they have sex, which was really, really weird to see Negan and Alpha, because I haven't read that part of the comic in a while. I know something does happen at that point, but I don't remember if Negan and Alpha actually do have sex in comic books. I cannot remember. But I just remember watching that. I only watched a couple of minutes ago. But I remember as that scene was panning out, I was like, okay, that's a really, really weird image. I don't like that image at all. It's like they kind of went into it as much as they can. Going, people are going to think this whole sex scene is weird. Let's just show them it. Let's show them how weird this thing is, because it was fucking weird. In terms of a rating of this episode, I'd probably give it maybe a 9.5 out of 10, because I think this episode was fucking awesome. I loved this episode from start to finish. I think it's probably my favourite episode of the season, because I was at the edge of my seat. I turned the light off to see better in the cave, and I'm like, no, I don't want to sit in the dark. I turned it on because this episode, it was insane. I couldn't get over how intense. My heart pounds at so many stages. I just loved it. This is probably my favourite episode of the season, and I'm really excited to actually watch this episode again. I don't think I'll have all the emotion as I did the first time, but either way, I am really, really excited to watch this episode. And again, episode 10 next week, I can't wait. I'm back. The Walking Dead is back, and I'm so excited to see what happens next, because this episode, if this episode is any indication of what's going to happen the rest of the season, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great back half, and I'm really excited for episode 10. But if you have seen this episode, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Click that subscribe button to see my review of episode 10 next week. And as always, thanks for watching.